Looks like we are live on the Dixie Belle Paint page. How are you today? It is Melissa from the Top Drawer RVA coming to you live from the floor where I sit on the floor every Wednesday and play with some paint. And today we are going to be talking about basic chalk paint knowledge, basic chalk mineral paint knowledge. And I'm also setting up my camera, trying to set up my camera here to get on the Dixie Belle Paint page on Facebook where I'm live every Wednesday. So hopefully we can all get this together and go on at the same time. I tried this last week, not successful, and I would like to get both up and streaming as we need to. So let's see. Oh, it keeps kicking me out. Facebook, what's going on? All right, well, we'll try one more time and then we'll move along. So bear with me, talk amongst yourselves. And while we do that, we are going to get ready. Let's see. So if you don't know me, I am a Dixie Belle brand ambassador, and I go live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. to hang out and teach people all about chalk mineral paint. Maybe I cannot go live today on the Dixie Belle Paint page. It's one of those days. You can't have one in without the other, right? It's like you try and do one thing and you can, and then you try and do another and you're stuck. Okay, so let me see if I can get organized here. So what's today's video going to be about? Well, today's video is all about basic chalk mineral paint knowledge. If you are new to painting furniture, if you never painted furniture before, there are some things that are essential to know and some things that will help you along on your painting journey. No dice for Facebook, so I guess we're just going to be YouTube today. All right, so what am I talking about and how am I going to teach you this today? Well, I have a furniture piece behind me, and this is a basic wood vanity. Now, this basic wood vanity has been cleaned with White Lightning. White Lightning is a TSP-based cleaner. It's a degreaser. It's really great for getting in there, moving dirts and oils. I like to rinse with water after I'm finished. It now comes in this really easy to use bottle with a little sprayer on top. You don't even have to mix it anymore. But if you like, they do have it in the small TSP based bottle as well. Why can't I think? Bottle, jar, container. It's small. It's like 8 ounces. So today we're going to talk about basic chalk mineral paint. This will not be a very long video. It's going to be fairly short. But I thought that everybody could use some refresher course. So let's begin. First of all, what is chalk mineral paint? Dixie Belle's chalk mineral paint comes in approximately 70 different colors. It is 0 VOCs. You can use it indoors around your pets. It's really no smell, no problems. I use it around my dogs all the time. This is actually my dining room, aka studio, where I paint on the daily. So we have a lot of colors available from Dixie Belle. We have, like I said, upwards to 70 colors of chalk mineral paint. We also have 2 other paint lines as well. We have Terra clay paint and Silk alum mineral paint. So both of these paints are great too. They also have different values. Terra clay paint's texturized. It's a little bit more of a heavy paint for more artistry painting. Silk alum mineral paint has a built-in top coat, a built-in primer. But the OG of all the chalk mineral paints is your basic Dixie Belle chalk mineral paint line. So as long as your project is clean, you've removed your hardware, you've rinsed with water, you can move on to your next step. So what is your next step for this process? Well, if you are looking at a project and wondering, will I have bleed through? Will I have stains? Will I have anything being a problem on this piece? You're going to want to come in with Bonding Boss. Bonding Boss is your primer for anything slick and shiny, as well as blocking any stains, odors, tannins, or bleed throughs. Bonding Boss comes in 3 different colors. We have clear, we have gray, we have white. I'm partial to gray myself. It seems to be the best one. This is really good too, the gray for reds or pinks. But this color that I'm using today to paint with is not too light. It's kind of like middle of the road in the chalk mineral paint colors. I don't know if you've seen this one before, but it's called Tea Rose. And Tea Rose is a really pretty pink color. And we're going to paint a little bit today, but we're going to do the same thing. We're going to talk about chalk mineral paint. So we have this beautiful chalk mineral paint color. It comes in a couple of different sizes. This happens to be the 16 ounce. This paint can get a little thick if you leave your lid off for a while. So I do suggest using a spray misting bottle filled with water. That's going to help you thin your paint a little bit because it can get a little chunky inside the jar. And I like to apply my paint with a smooth synthetic brush, okay? When I say a smooth synthetic brush, Dixie Belle carries many. This is a flat medium, by far my fave, totally my fave for all of the paint brushes. So we have the availability to use a natural fiber brush as well. This is just a basic chip brush. but I find that it doesn't give you the smoothness that you're looking for. I like a smooth chalk mineral paint. I don't like to have lumps or bumps or anything else on there when I'm using chalk mineral paint. So my brush of choice is the flat medium. This is easy to hold. It's not heavy. It washes out really well with your scrubby soap. So this is a great brush to use for chalk mineral paint. Now, there's a couple of different things you can add onto your project before you begin. I'm not sure if you've heard of something called would you bend. Would you bend moldings are really cool because you can bend them and shape them to your project. I was thinking about adding this one right up here on the front of this little drawer, and I think we might do that together today. I'm just hoping my battery doesn't kick out on my computer because, of course, it's Wednesday, but it feels like a Monday, and my phone didn't work, and this didn't work. People are going to be wondering where I am on the Dixie Belle Paint page, but that's okay. Maybe they'll come over to YouTube and find me over here. All right, so what is this? This is a molding. This is actually molding number, would you bend 2092 under tools on the Dixie Belle Paint page. All right, comes in a set of 2. I'm only going to be using 1 today. This is rigid and hard, right? It's not flexible, but you can make this flexible to bend around this nice curved surface. See this curved surface on the front of this French provincial vanity? We're going to heat this up with our heat gun, and once it's warm, what we're going to be able to do is attach it with wood glue to our piece. So let me show you how to do that. Now I can't hold this up and heat it up at the same time, so I'm going to place it down here in the vanity bench, and you can kind of see it down here in the corner. Let's heat it up. It doesn't take long, just a few minutes. Now, look at that bend, right? It becomes bendable. So now the front of this curved surface is going to be able to have this bend and shape to the front versus a regular wood molding would stay really straight across. So I'm going to take out my wood glue, and it doesn't matter which wood glue you use, it just happens to be Type Bond, and I'm going to apply it to the back of my project. Okay, so here I am smushing my glue on. It doesn't matter if you put on a little too much. If you have excess, you can easily wipe it back after you get it on your project. Cloth on the floor, take off a little bit of this. And now I'm going to take my would you bend, which is bendy because it's warm, right? And it has the glue applied, and I'm going to hold it up here for a minute because guess what? I'm also out of tape. Do you remember I said it's a Wednesday, but it feels like a Monday? It's been one of those days. So while you hold it to this project, what we're going to do is actually heat it up one more time, okay? Heating up one more time is just going to ensure that it's bent and going to adhere to your project well. Making sure it's straight and pushing down with your fingers. So if you have tape, you could just tape it up here and that would hold it. But if you just hold it for a few seconds, it cools down awful fast. And then it loses its flexibility and actually molds to your piece. So you can see that little excess glue right there. It really doesn't matter. You can take a brush and wipe it off with a little bit of water if you want and a rag, or you could just wait for it to dry, and it really makes no difference. I'm not going to lie. It's one of those things that if you just put a little bit too much, it's okay. No big deal. But a tiny brush or a Q-tip can take off that excess amount of wood glue. I'm usually fairly heavy-handed when it comes to putting glue on for some reason. I can never get the right amount, and I never close my lids properly, so I can never use like the nozzle part on my little glue. It gets completely jumped up. So I'm going to wash this brush really fast because I might use this brush when I come in close to the edges on this piece. Brush. This is from the set that Dixie Belle sells of smaller artisan brushes. It's great for small corners. It's great for detail work, getting up in here under the edges. I have used gel stain on the top of this project. So I'm not going to be painting the top. I'm just going to be painting the base of this project. And then I will be adding a transfer. This transfer right here is called the Magnificent Magnolia Transfer from Dixie Belle. It's pink. It's pretty. My plan is to kind of drape it down the front and possibly down the legs. This piece of furniture actually is a donation piece. It's going to be going to the Remix Market in Ashland, and they're going to be doing an auction in the early new year. So I need to get done, get my work done and get it over there for them to get ready to auction off. I will be reusing the original hardware for this piece. I will probably just be spray painting it a nice bright shiny gold and then reattaching it. When possible, I do like to reuse hardware. It's kind of one of those things that makes the piece feel, I don't know, like it's just a little bit more correct hardware. Sometimes if you take hardware off, especially a French provincial piece that has kind of these curvy fronts and curvy sides, what'll happen is you won't get hardware that looks right or fits right. So I'm going to keep with the original hardware. I'm lucky it's all there. I've just put it aside, and I will paint that with spray paint and get it ready before I finish up this piece. So let's get this paint on here and talk about how it goes on. So have you used chalk mineral paint before? I use it like every day. Being a Dixie Belle brand ambassador, painting is my job. So I use this paint a lot. This Tea Rose, I'm going to apply with my flat medium brush. And it is a little bit older in the jar. I've used about 3/4 of it. So spraying my brush is going to help get it on nice and smooth and allow it to sit nicely on my wood. So for today's project, we're actually just going to paint a little bit up here, just this one drawer. And maybe I can even get over top of my wood you bend molding if I'm lucky. If I can get that glue to dry up, because you can paint right over top of this as soon as you put it on. There's no wait time with wood you bend. All right, so here's my brush. Here's my Tea Rose. Now let's talk about a couple of different ways you can paint. So you can create a texture with a flat medium brush by just dabbing your paint on like this. If you were to apply your chalk mineral paint just like this all the way around in 2 even coats, what will happen is you're going to get like a stippling motion on your piece. And those little stipples will stay a little bit and give you more of a texturized vibe. Personally, it's not my favorite. I usually do that kind of a look with Terra clay paint. So for today's project, I will just be putting on this paint in the regular fashion, which is back and forth and covering all of the wood. This is a paint that will take 2 coats. It has really good coverage, but for some reason, some of the lighter colors do need a little bit more attention when it comes to the pigment. Colors like in the navy cover in 1 coat, or caviar covers in 1 coat, but the lighter tones definitely need a little bit more paint coverage. So 2 even coats will probably be enough for this project. Putting it on in a even manner is the way that I want to apply it. And it dries really fast. But if you had to, you could hit it with a heat gun and then it would dry even quicker. But for me, showing you just all about chalk mineral paint today, it's easy enough for me just to leave it get dry and paint the second coat on at a later date. So if you have questions about chalk mineral paint, there are multiple pages on Facebook that will help you answer your questions. There's different groups that get together as a chalk mineral painting kind of a team. We all answer each other's questions, and Dixie Belle has a very big supportive family of people that are always around to help. Also, me being one of Dixie Belle's brand ambassadors, always available to help you as well when it comes to answering any questions you might have. So feel free to reach out. You can find me on all social media at the Top Drawer RVA. So let's come in and paint around this molding. So when you have a molding that's a little bit more of a textured design like this, you might find it difficult to push your paint in and around the edges. I find that keeping your brush fairly wet helps get it in and push it in around the molding. Because it's a little bit thinner when you thin it out with your water, it's just easier to get it in there and not so difficult. So once I kind of get it in and pushed in around the edges, I'll smooth it out. But I like to stipple on my paint when it comes to painting around wood you bend moldings. Look at that. Now it looks like it was a part of the piece. How cute is that? Right? So cute. I'm going to paint right over top of where the hardware goes because, like I said, I will be keeping the hardware for this piece, as well as painting all the way up to the interior edge, because the top of this piece will be stained with No Pain Just Paint in a golden ash color. And then I will be adding the transfer over top of my paint when this paint is being applied in 2 even coats and is fully dry for 24 hours. So when you're applying the transfer over top of chalk mineral paint, we talked a little bit about a transfer. A transfer is basically a decal that you press down into your project and scrape off, and it releases and goes onto your project. So you need to wait until your paint is fairly dry. 24 hours is recommended. If it's not dry all the way and you start to come in and you put your paint on and your transfer on, the transfer is not going to stick well. The other little handy tip to know is that your transfer is not going to stick well to any wax, okay? So when you're finished painting your project, you have a couple of options. You do not have to seal it all. No problems, walk away, leave it like it is. But there are some great options from Dixie Belle for sealing your work. Gator Hide is Dixie Belle's #1 toughest top coat. This will be, water repellent. It's clear, it's transparent, it's extra durable. This is what I use on top of my gel stain and on top of all of the tabletops of my projects. For the base, depending on what look I'm going for, I do like a wax base. This is Dixie Belle's Wax and Clear. I know it looks white. It's not white. It's actually clear when you put it on and you brush it on. And just so you know, transfers will not stick well to wax. So if you're going to be using a transfer, I suggest Dixie Belle's clear coats, satin, matte, or glossy, and then apply your transfer. Because you're going to not really want it to stick on any wax, it's not going to work well. Planning out your piece is kind of the essential bit for knowing how your furniture is going to hold up on the test of time. So cleaning well, first off, with white lightning, rinsing with water, making sure there's no dirt, no grease, nothing on there that shouldn't be. After it's been cleaned, make sure you rinse it with water, and then you're going to decide if you need to use Boss or not. Does your piece have tannins that are going to possibly leak through? Is it stained? Is it stinky? Is it super shiny? All of those things are going to require Bonding Boss. And using Bonding Boss in gray is going to help with, say, your bright pinks, your bright purples, or your reds. You can use Bonding Boss in clear and or white as well. Then moving on to choosing your paint color. Remember, you have upwards to 70 colors to choose from. And then knowing that you can add your little bells and whistles, things like your little moldings from Would You Bend, or your transfers, or your stencils, whatever you're using on your project can all go together. Then you have your option for sealing. I do like the wax and clear, because I usually like to dirt up my edges with a darker wax kind of in conjunction together. So that, my friends, is pretty much all I came on here to do today. I'm sorry if anybody's coming in here from the Dixie Belle Facebook page looking for me. For some reason, would not connect. Facebook was not playing well today, not playing nicely with others. So I hope that this little basic chalk mineral paint tutorial helps you along on your furniture painting journey. I think that there's a couple of tools that are important for every furniture painter, whether it be novice or advanced, to have in their toolbox. Things like Bonding Boss to prevent any bleed through and tannins, or to prevent smells. You could use Dixie Belle's mud to fill in holes and do any small repairs. And then obviously choosing your brush. I do like to use that flat synthetic brush versus a chip brush, because I just feel like it gives you a smoother finish when it comes down to what you are doing. Remember, your Would You Bends can be found under Tools on the Dixie Belle Paint page. And there are 3 different lines of Dixie Belle's paint. We have Terra Clay paint for texture, Silk Alum Mineral paint has built-in top coat, built-in primer, and then of course Dixie Belle's regular OG, the chalk mineral paint line. So thanks for joining me today. Make sure you're following along at the Top Drawer RVA across all social media. I post every day, and like I said, this is a donation piece for a place here in Ashland, Virginia, where they will be auctioning it off to support Better Together for children in need of medical assistance. I often do donation pieces for my local community. I find it's a great way to give back to my community, and doing it through art is the best way that I know how. I hope that everybody has a great day. I will check in with you later, and I hope that I will see you again on the flip side. Come join me over on Facebook. I'm usually live there every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Thank you.